to the Jay Sheldon Show. We are live on Rumble, YouTube, and X across all three platforms. Welcome in. Thank you for joining us. Hope you're having a great time. And Happy New Year! First day of the first month of 2026. Man, great night last night. I hope your New Year's was wonderful. Mine was okay. It was all right. It was a New Year, so not bad. We got off the show just a little bit early. Was able to get a little glass of sake poured and just in time to ring in the New Year. Yeah, no, I don't do the champagne because it just makes me crazy. Anyway, New Year's is here. Welcome. And yes, I know we were almost going to take the day off, but we didn't. We decided to hang in there. Also got a little bit of a new angle. I don't know if you like this with a new angle on the new show, but I do. So, for now, we're going to stick with it. We'll see what happens. What else we got happening here? That looks good. How does this look over here? That looks good. That looks good. I think we're good. All right. We're not at all surprised by the latest developments out of Minneapolis. Nothing these morons do there will ever surprise us. Independent journalists, Nick in particular, revealed unbelievably rampant fraud in Somali-run daycare centers and other programs. And all the little leftists, from Tim Walz on down to the local newsrooms, have been running cover for the Somalis, claiming the investigations are something like white supremacy. They don't even try. They're not trying. Motivated by President Trump's racism towards immigrants. Oh, yeah, that's it, I'm sure. Of course, that's not true. This is about the theft of our tax money, folks. Billions of dollars of our tax money stolen right out from under us. Money that could have gone to many, many other programs. Or, here's a radical notion, taxpayers could have been allowed to keep our money. Not a bad one, huh? Significant portion went to Al-Shabaab, the Somali-based terrorist group. You can rest easy knowing that. Frankly, we have every right to be absolutely pissed off by what's going on in Minnesota, other places too, but in particular in Minnesota. We, you and I, taxpayers, we are the victims in this mess. That's not the narrative that they're going to play out. Apparently, the victimization of Somali daycare centers is off and running to the races. Yesterday, Crime Watch Minneapolis posted a thread of people reporting concerns about neighborhood daycare centers. One of those was the Nokomis Daycare Center. Minnesota licensed lookup websites still down, but people are submitting some of their neighborhood daycare findings. According to the neighbors report, this one is across the street from me, and never once have I seen a single person walking through the doors. They do have two vans that never move, a white one and a black one. Every time a loud vehicle passes, the alarms go off. So someone is watching them. And now that very daycare center is the site of an alleged break-in. And I say alleged because it didn't happen. It's absolute bullcrap. And these people are just stupid enough to think that we are stupid enough to believe them. How convenient. According to the New York Post, daycare manager Nasrullah Mohammed says someone entered the facility through the kitchen at the rear of the building by damaging a wall and breaking into the office Tuesday. And did they take laptops, electronics, resellable pawn shop item type stuff? Oh, no. These particularly crafty thieves took the records of all the children's enrollment information, employee documents, and the checkbooks. Also said, this is devastating news, and we don't know why this is targeting our Somali community. One video made by a specific individual made all this happen, even though it was not one of the daycares that Nick mentioned in his video. This moron, Mohammed, spoke to the media about it. And I guess the only way to explain it is to just let him say it. A, you weren't in the video, you moron. B, do you see him putting his hand on his chest? But a little late, it's like there's instructions on the, it's just like a Joe Biden thing, you know? And we're all Somali Americans? Sorry, no, you're not. A big number of you are illegal alien Somalis, okay? Like I said, they think they're stupid enough to think that we're stupid enough to believe them. Frightening and exhausting, because this happened to us Somali communities. So the vandals who are upset about fraud conveniently stole the documents that could be used to prove the fraud. How convenient. Was it possible that the vandal might have been Jesse Smollett? Astonishing coincidence, isn't it? Accused of fraud yesterday, by this morning a mystery burglar thoughtfully removed every piece of documentation that would have proven the fraud. Frightening. Every bit of this smells, stinks to its core of absolute fraud and absolute corruption. We will see what comes out of this investigation. We are not happy, by the way, and I'm using the royal we, about the speed it's taking. I know you got to make sure you got your ducks in a row. I know the federal government likes to have virtually won its case before it makes charges to anyone. That's just how they work. But I want to see people in damned handcuffs now, tomorrow at the latest. Not 3 weeks from now, not 2 weeks from now, not 3 months from now. Tomorrow, the next day. People need to be indicted, put in handcuffs, perp walked, sent into jail, and given a very, very high bail, if any at all. That is insane. That's ridiculous. But it's just going to keep on keeping on, and all we can do is sit back here and hope Pam Bondi and her Department of Justice does something about it. What? At this point, honestly, couldn't tell you. Make some arrests. Bring about some indictments. Do it. Stop screwing around. We're tired of waiting. And by the way, did you see the glasses that Knucklehead was wearing when he was doing the press conference? That brand of glasses he's wearing are called Chrome Hearts. If they're real, and if they're real, authentic Chrome Hearts brand glasses, the bottom range of those glasses costs about $2,500 a pair, plus. Yeah, these poor Somali criminals. Danny popped in to say Happy New Year to all. Hope you had a wonderful and safe night. Had a loud house full of kids and confetti. I'll be vacuuming until 2027. And you know what? Even when you're done, you'll still find confetti in 2028 and 2029. Watch later. Happy New Year's, Marilyn. Happy New Year and blessed New Year to you. And wow, great. Nice to have you along. There are a couple of P1 viewers and listeners. All right, so I'm complaining because nothing's happening or it's not happening fast enough. Well, Caroline Leavitt, the White House's response to the Minnesota fraud under Walz, she says people will be in handcuffs. We're waiting. She weighed in on the daycare fraud that's been exposed in Minnesota under Walz, said people will be in handcuffs as she shared how every aspect of the admin is getting involved, which frankly just means it's going to take even longer. During her appearance yesterday, Fox and Friends, Leavitt was asked about President Trump's response to the rampant Somali fraud and discovered in Minnesota. Trump is not going to let Governor Walz off the hook, Leavitt said, pointing out Trump's called out Walz's incompetence for a very long time. Indeed, he has. She talked about the work by independent journalists like Nick Shirley, the video he posted that went so viral and caused all of this exposure of the unbelievable corruption going on. She says this is a top priority. Department of Justice, as we speak, is continuing to execute search warrants and subpoenas. People will be in handcuffs as a result of the fraud that Governor Walz allowed to occur for many, many years. The DHS conducting door-to-door investigations on the ground at potential fraud sites. Also conducting, hey, I just had a thought. How many more break-ins, stealing their paperwork and documentation, do you suppose there's going to be? Plan on some more. They're also conducting deportation of illegal aliens in Minnesota communities. Good. Goodbye. Leavitt said, we're not afraid to use denaturalization. That's a tool at the president's disposal and the Secretary of State's disposal. It's one this admin has previously used. Entire admin working around the clock to get to the bottom of it. Department of Labor now investigating the state's unemployment insurance program. Republican House Oversight Committee going to hold hearings on the fraud in the state, in Minnesota. So get the popcorn ready, folks. It's happening. Not happening fast enough, in my humble opinion, but at least it's happening. So we shall see. We shall see. Hey, where are we going now? Oh, we're going around the world. Have you seen what's going on in Iran? Incredible. People are fighting back, and you just don't see that in a place like Iran. Protests in Iran are spreading. You got to have cojones the size of watermelons to protest anything in Iran. But People very, very bravely are standing up to the regime. The protests in Iran, in fact, are spreading. They're getting bigger. We've seen a lot of protests over the years in Iran, but there are indications that this one is giving a lot of people a lot of hope. Demonstrations over the country's economic crisis erupted in Tehran, capital, on Sunday after the Iranian rial plunged into plunged into a record low against the dollar, forced the head of the central bank to resign, and the protests morphed into wider outbursts against Ali Khamenei, supreme leader, and his draconian restrictions on women, students, shopkeepers all came out to the streets demonstrating. Very, very rare to see that happening, or demonstration against the government, because normally you don't live through those things, if you know what I mean. It's that last part that's most introspective. Spread to various levels of society, including students and shopkeepers. And that is exactly what happened, if you remember, back in 1979. The revolution that brought the mullahs to power. It was the shopkeepers in Tehran who appear to have started it now. Closed the shops. Others in the area around the country are doing exactly the same thing. 50% inflation, well over that. I mean, how does anybody deal with that? Over 50% inflation, but also their draconian, out-of-date policies. The people have just pretty much had enough. Pretty amazing. A woman is leading men among the shops, saying, "Don't be afraid. We're all together." This is a young woman in Tehran leading these folks, getting them out there in Tehran's Grand Bazaar. Students at Tehran University reportedly in conflict with the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps, reportedly forced them out. This is huge news. Students clashed, forced them out, gates closed. Students at a lot of universities have now said that they will not attend classes and continue to protest. What's the point of studying when there's no future and the regime gives our money to Gaza and Lebanon? Now, that's a fact. That comment, the fact that they don't want their money going to prop up actions in Gaza and Lebanon. So it's spread to other universities, including female students. Odd in this country, sitting here having to look and read that and hear about it. But you got to know what it's like to be a woman in Iran. Not the easiest thing on the planet. But they're fighting back. That is real courage. Go for it. Don't back down. All right. We're going to talk about little Eric Swalwell because he's funny and we like to laugh at him. But before we do that, we're going to talk about Patriot Mobile.
When you choose Patriot Mobile, you're not just picking a wireless provider. You're choosing a company that shares your values. It's easy to switch, and you can keep your number, your phone, and most importantly, your values. With Patriot Mobile, you get the power of nationwide coverage on all 3 major networks. That means wherever life takes you, we've got you covered on the same reliable networks you already know and trust. And when you need us, we're here for you right here at home. Our customer service is 100% US-based because we believe that support should come from people who understand you and your values. At Patriot Mobile, you're not just another call, you're a priority. In today's world, where you spend your money matters more than ever. Every dollar is a vote for the kind of future you want to build. Join the thousands of Americans making a difference with every call, every text, and every connection. Choose a company that shares your values. Choose Patriot Mobile.
PatriotMobile.com/J is the link you need. It's in our show notes right there at the top. But please do know, folks, they are a company that backs all the things you and I believe in. They are America's only Christian conservative wireless provider. And it is so easy to get changed over and signed up. Even if you've got a contract with another provider right now, they have programs that will get you out of them. So check out, if you need to, get a hold of their customer service. It's 100% US based, and they are there to help you get the best policy, best package for your cell phone you can get. Everything stays the same. You keep your number, you keep your phone. You can upgrade your phone if you want to, don't have to, and they're not going to force you into it. All the great coverage guaranteed. PatriotMobile.com/J. When you use that link or use the promo code J, you'll get a free month. Your first month is on me. It's free when you sign up using our link, PatriotMobile.com/J. Thank you, Patriot Mobile. We are incredibly proud to have you as a partner on this program. All right. Eric Swalwell. How does he keep getting elected? And where does he come off thinking he has a snowball's chance in hell of ever becoming a governor, God forbid a president? Here's his priorities: arrest ICE agents and keep illegal aliens in California's farm fields. Yeah, he actually said that. I don't know how much more we can talk about the idiotic ideas and things this moron comes out with. He is one of the least self-aware people in national politics. Swalwell is the political equivalent of a guy who flexes in the mirror at the gym while sneaky looking around and checking to see if anybody's watching him. You know the kind? Yeah. But he never actually picks up a set of weights, all the while convinced he's a he-man, while everybody else sees a pesky little Barney Fife. You got to be old enough to know that reference. By the way, I love Barney Fife. Swalwell is a mean, petty person. The other Barney is a devoted deputy from the Andy Griffith Show, played by Don Knotts. This TDS-riddled left-wing Democrat moron built an entire brand on doing nothing other than hating Donald Trump, constantly trolling over to CNN or MSNBC, MS Now, howling at the moon about impeachment, notching zero accomplishments of note. Swally laughably pretends to be a defender of democracy. Yeah. First Amendment, other various causes. The guy, frankly, is just a walking melodrama, and that's about it. In the end, he is a legend in his own mind. A peevish little man, forever auditioning for the role of serious leader. In reality, just another grandstanding backbencher, that's it. Anyway, Swalwell, running for governor in the no longer Golden State, showed up at an MS Now on Tuesday, bristling with hubris, proceeded to run his mouth about some of the things he's going to do to ICE agents if he wins. Spoiler alert, it was hilarious. I'll tell you what, let me just play a piece of it for you. Where is my sound? Hold on. Bring it back. Where is my sound? This better work. I'm going to be really pissed No? What the heck? How about there? We got sound over here? Let's check.
What would you bring to the
Okay.
table as the governor of California?
Well, you have immense powers as governor of California, and your responsibility is to protect the most vulnerable in the state. So if the president is going to send ICE agents to chase immigrants to the fields where they work, what I'm going to do is make sure that they take off their masks and show their faces, that they show their identification, and if they commit crimes, that they're going to be charged with crimes. If it's falsely imprisoning people, if it's kidnapping, if assault, battery, they're going to be held accountable. I also think if the governor has the ability to issue driver's licenses to people in California, if you're going to wear a mask and not identify yourself, you're not going to be eligible to drive a vehicle in California. There's a lot you can do, but most importantly, you have to go on offense. Otherwise, the most vulnerable in our community will always be on defense.
See, what did I tell you? Moron. Honest to God. What are you going to bring to California? You know, Eric, by the way, an honest answer would have been even more pain and misery than the good people of California are already forced to bear. Despite his pipe dreams, Swalwell is going to do no such thing. ICE agents, other law enforcement officers wear masks because they get threats, not only against them, but against their entire families. They completely cover their faces while protesting. The left does. Don't have a problem with that, do you? Because the left is the most hypocritical group on this planet. Swalwell's got a lot of problems, but the big one encapsulated in 2 words, supremacy clause. Okay? Look it up. Last time I checked ICE immigration enforcement, their agents, National Guard troops, Border Patrol agents, have absolutely followed the Constitution of the United States and the Supreme Court law of the supreme law of the land. Continue to round up, deport illegal aliens, millions of whom got ushered into this country under the Biden administration and the Democrats. And now the bottom line is we're fixing it. I would place a healthy bet that Eric Swalwell has, let's say, 0 chances of becoming California's next governor. If we're talking about any other state besides California, given the crazy town lunacy of the no longer golden state, all bets are off. But he's just going to keep out there. Why is that? Okay. I don't know. Got some technical crap going on. Don't know why. May have lost the YouTube feed, but it should come back if you're there on YouTube. You just got to hang on for a little bit, and hopefully it will be back before long. Weird. I don't know why that happened, but it happened. Okay, where else are we? What are we doing? Where are we? I get lost sometimes, all right? Bear with it. Just do nothing. Oh, man. Can we pause for just a moment? Okay, that's enough. That pause was to appreciate exactly what kind of a moron Jessica Tarloff is. If you need any proof or you don't know who no, trust me, if you don't know who Jessica Tarloff is, consider yourself blessed. For those of us who sadly have to live through this bullshit and listen to this garbage, because it's not really our job, but it's kind of what we have to do show prep and be prepared to talk about stuff. She is the Fox News resident liberal panelist on the show called The Five. She has done a whiz-bang job of showing her unbelievable lack of any form of intelligence at all. Again, because she does it nearly every time she opens her mouth. Independent reporter Nick Shirley's explosive investigation into the frauds with the Somalis in Minnesota. This idiot Tarloff questioned the scope of his findings while missing the point so spectacularly. I gotta talk about it. Shirley's investigation uncovered what appears to be a massive fraud. You know, we talked about it earlier on this show. We've been talking about it since the reports came out. Now, to her credit, she admitted that the scandal would complicate Walz's re-election campaign and ambitions for maybe a higher office. And she says, quote, "It's going to get incredibly complicated for him. And I'm sure he and his team are talking about whether he would mount another, I don't want to say challenge because Donald Trump won't be running again. But obviously, he's being considered for 2028. Well, she at least acknowledged that even if Walz wasn't personally involved, the scandal reflects very badly on his administration. It happened on his watch. Again, back to the knucklehead. I think that it will be more difficult when something like this has gone on in your state while you are in office, even if you are not personally involved in it. The program he was talking about, which I've seen no fraud about that. The kids go to school and they get lunch, and they should. Yes, school lunch is a good thing. Sometimes even breakfast, too. And no, she wasn't done. Next, the real gem. Tarloff actually questioned whether or not Shirley, working mainly on his own, could have genuinely uncovered the full scale of this alleged frauds. Listen to this idiot. Quote, Nick Shirley's reporting, "There's no way this kid walking around uncovered $100 million worth of fraud on his own." This kid walking around? That's how Tarloff describes an independent journalist doing actual investigation, independent journalism. She went on to insist that tons of people have been working behind the scenes on this story. There have been tons of people working quietly, including independent local journalists that have been exposing this. So let me get this straight, Tarly. Shirley's work is questionable because he couldn't possibly have done it alone. Is that what you're saying? And there were tons of journalists working on it as well. Well, which is it? Either he's building on an existing work, which is how journalism typically works, or he's not. You cannot have it both ways, my dear. The truth is, this idiot Tarloff just cannot stand that an independent reporter broke this story. Broke it wide open, made it go viral. Why? Because it hurts not just Walz, but the Democratic Party. Blue state fraud finally getting the rays of sunshine it deserves. And the cockroaches are scattering. She's got to diminish his achievement because it doesn't fit the left's preferred narrative. This whole segment perfectly captures Tarloff and how she's become basically a punchline at this point. simultaneously tries to downplay damaging information about the Democrats, and accidentally highlights just how bad the scandal is. Oops. She questions whether a single reporter could uncover $110 million in fraud. That's all it takes. One person with a handphone, with a cell phone, can do a lot of damage these days. We see it time and time again, including Nick Shirley, thank you. The sad truth is, they are doing what a lot of people in the corporate media simply refuse to do. If you're not going to do it, we're going to do it. Live with it. It's a new world, media people. You better change, or you are going to be like the dinosaurs, and it isn't going to take an asteroid. You will have done it to yourselves. Couldn't think of a finer death. Ah, man. Ooh. Here's a bit of good news for you. I love this story. Maine National Guardsman, who was labeled a domestic extremist, forced out for his refusal to take the clot shot, the COVID vaccine. A former Maine National Guardsman, you may remember this story, happened a while ago. He wasn't hit with a faulty accusation of being a domestic extremist. He was hit with that. They accused him of being a domestic extremist, whatever the hell that is. Pushed out of his job, all for refusing to take the clot shot. The state organization defied a federal correction order to reinstate him. Major Michael Gary, likely the first U.S. service member to preemptively apply for a religious accommodation for the COVID-19 vaccine back in December of 2020, over a year before Reserve National Guard members were expected to even be vaccinated. He said, "Nobody's corrected me on this. I believe I'm the first guy in the nation to submit a religious exemption in the COVID era. Mine was December 1st of 2020, before the shot even came out." According to Gary, his chain of command in the Maine Army National Guard was all about protecting his First Amendment rights when he first applied for the exemption. "They supported me 100%, he said. And then, of course, the shot came out, and over time, my chain of command completely soured on me." Military career spanned over 20 years. Active Guard Reserve position became jeopardized by several shocking allegations that came out against him. The Army Board for Corrections of Military Records. Gary was labeled a bully, a government time waster, a domestic extremist, and a COVID-19 conspiracy theorist. Interferer of the presidential election, the list goes on and on. Eventually, he was separated from the reserve for refusing the vaccine. Despite the fact these accusations were completely baseless, they persisted in retaliating against him. The records show exactly that. It's disgusting. March 21st, 2022, he got a general order memorandum of reprimand for his alleged misconduct, leading him to receive notification of his involuntary release from full-time mirroring in undermining the military policy on vaccines. Back in September, Pete Hegseth, Department of War, took notice of Gary's plight, responded to the Maine National Guard, and finally got all of this crap removed off of Gary's records. Pete Hegseth posting, "Every day we're working to undo the wrongs of the unlawful COVID vax mandate. Much more to be done, but we won't stop." Wow. Gary's also sent a letter to President Trump asking for his help. Still has not gotten a reply, but he has finally gotten it straightened out thanks to Hegseth and his fine work over there in the Department of War. That's really weird. I don't know what happened to YouTube. We'll upload a new version of the show later on. Okay. What do we got? One more? Yeah, we got one more. Starbucks. Forget it. blackoutcoffee.com. Use the link in our show notes. But since a lot of you, hopefully not my viewers, but a lot of you out there, a lot of your friends maybe, still insist on waking their money by drinking this crap coffee. Well, guess how many Starbucks stores closed in 2025? It's actually an incredible number. Has not been a really great year for coffee giant Starbucks. In September, they announced a $1 billion restructuring, closing of stores that would result in the layoffs of somewhere around 1,000 workers. Memo issued to employees that month, Brian Niccol, the CEO, said, "While we're making good progress, there's much more to do to build a better, stronger, and more resilient Starbucks." That restructuring announcement, days after the baristas filed a suit over the company's new dress code. Draconian dress code that warranted a lawsuit? Well, starting in May, Starbucks employees were expected to wear a solid black and khaki, black, or blue denim bottoms. Black shirts could be short or long-sleeved, with or without a collar, and the company was going to provide all the employees with 2 free T-shirts. Monsters, every one of them. Well, now it seems the $1 billion restructuring is well underway. Starbucks announced in the U.S. for 2025 they have closed 400 stores. Ouch. Starbucks has seen decades and decades of constant growth. You could not stop them. But they're now seeing an enormous shrinking in cities. More than 10% of the closed stores, 10% of that 400, were in New York City. 42 Big Apple locations closed, 12% of the city's total locations, closed 20 stores in LA, 15 in Chicago, 7 in San Francisco, 6 in Minneapolis, and 5 in Baltimore. The company wants to focus on better quality, smaller number of stores. Starbucks doesn't want to be on every street in New York and LA, which currently you can't throw a refrigerator and not hit a Starbucks. Expansion, which once seemed limitless, even a joke, in 1998, an Onion headline read, "New Starbucks opens in restroom of existing Starbucks." A few years later, comedian Louis Black rifled that he'd gone to the end of the universe in Houston, where he saw one Starbucks directly across the street from another Starbucks. 400 stores. Another one people pointed out that the closures are a drop in the bucket. Do you have any idea how many outlets Starbucks has in America? Again, they closed 400, which sounds like a big number. You know how many outlets just in the U.S. there are? 17,000. Yeah. 17,000 Starbucks locations. Can we bring up that map? There you go. Take a look at this. 16,854 locations. Look at that map. 52 states and territories. 3,821 cities. 4.3 average rating. Holy moly. Wow. That's as of December 15th, last month. Which state has the most? California. About 18% of all the Starbucks in the U.S. Their coffee is crap. They don't need the money. Do yourself a big favor. Blackout Coffee, the link's in our show notes. You will never go back to another coffee once you've tried Blackout Coffee. Use the code J20 for 20% off your first order. Had to get that last click in there. Please do, though. Check it out. That's brilliant coffee. It really is. All right, we're all done. We're out of here. Thank you. Happy New Year one more time. And we'll be back. We'll be here tomorrow for the Friday edition of the Jay Sheldon Show. Thanks, folks.